What's that?
Are you from Maxima?
Yeah.
Is that a news outlet?
Brazilian, yeah, in Brazil. Brazil. Are you with this group of people?
Well, this is a melange of different
Okay.
of people purportedly of the left. Yeah.
Okay.
Does that answer you directly?
No, not really. It only obfuscates.
This is a melange of people purportedly of the progressive tendency.
So, but in reality,
well, let your lens penetrate the reality.
let me see.
Why ask me?
Is it? Well, I'm trying to penetrate. You're the first one who kind of started talking about it. So
well,
you might just as well.
The first May Day in America occurred here at Union Square.
Really?
Yes.
When?
In the 1800s.
Okay. And what was it celebrating back then?
I'm sorry. The first Labor Day occurred here.
Labor. Okay.
Sorry, because the May Day was during
it's
in
more
Chicago.
Like communist, yeah.
No, anarchist.
No? Anarchist, okay.
Long before the communists, before that period. In Chicago, the Haymarket Market.
Yeah, you're right.
Bombings.
But why? Yeah, I'm sorry.
This is where the first Labor Day, so this is the spot for labor. As you can see, the greatest revolutionary leader in American history presides over all of the left, George Washington.
Okay.
Though very few here, of course, would wish to acknowledge that.
So, do you belong to the left, or
Well,
just
I am a
conservative?
former political prisoner of American prisons.
Really? They're political prisoners in America?
When I was 18, I wrote, every country has political prisoners, regardless of liberal, authoritarian, totalitarian. No doubt Brazil has had some in its illustrious past, of course.
Yeah.
How could it not?
Exactly. So what were you in prison for?
Desire for dominion over other people.
So what were you in prison for?
I refused to register. Even put my name on the required papers for our draft. So
draft. Vietnam, you mean?
Yes. So
I see.
I was in prison.
I see. How much time did you spend there?
I was sentenced to half a year.
It's not too bad.
Well,
a friend of mine,
child of 21, time is very long.
A friend of mine spent 14 years behind bars. Another friend of mine spent 3 years behind bars. And I'm talking about the USSR.
Yes.
Back in the USSR. So it was completely different story.
That amount of time is unimaginable.
Well, but that's the reality
I've been in jail sentenced to 30 years. I could not even conceive it.
Who? I'm sorry?
I would pass in the prison yard men sentenced to 30 years. So that was inconceivable.
Well, it depends on what they did.
Well,
after all, they have a choice.
We had a lot
committing
of
a crime.
Pharmacists who sold heroin in the back to children. Average crime.
I see. But when getting back to your kind of first, let's call it a statement or explanation, that is pseudo-left, you said?
Pseudo-left?
No, what is your wording again?
Melange.
Melange.
I wanted to be fair and have as much of a descriptive without prejudice, or it's not saying anything injurious. So I said, this is a melange of people purportedly of the left.
But they're not on the left? Well, that's what confuses me.
Every faction on the left believes the others are not on the left.
You mean not enough on the left? That's what you're trying to say?
Every faction denounces the other faction.
That they're not enough on the left, in other words.
They aren't even authentic.
Aren't even. But nobody accuses them of being on the right, though, or conservative. Or
some do. They would say they're a rightist.
Even though they're leftist.
They're a right-wing liberal. That would be how they would say.
Right-wing liberal. Isn't it an oxymoron?
They would call our congressmen who identify with, say, socialist ambitions. They would call those rightist.
That's interesting. Okay. So there's no unity in the left, on the left then? Is this would be the right assessment?
People try to when they're under attack, they generally come together. Just as in the Ukraine, you have factions that are aligned out of necessity. And of course, the Americans and the Soviet Union and the British had the alliance, the Allied forces against the fascists in World War II. So the phrase, in all language, politics make strange bedfellows.
That's true. Yeah.
And this is a very lumpy bed.
It's a lumpy bed, you said? Yeah, I know.
But
okay, well, anyway, thank you for the introduction.
You interview people.
Yeah, I'll talk to some more people.
Ask them
hopefully.
about the Ukraine.
Ukraine.
That's the
What's your
trail here.
So what's your position in Ukraine and the left, by the way?
Most of these groups say they're in solidarity with the Ukrainian people. They say they're against Russia's invasion of the Ukraine. But they blame the United States of America and NATO, and they are against the Ukrainians receiving aid that they desire.
And you disagree with that?
I believe that it doesn't. It's an idiotic analysis.
I agree.
And they don't apparently look carefully at the photographs of the devastation.
That's right.
That doesn't reach their hearts apparently.
Apparently
through
not.
the screen of their ideology.
And
It still is Marxist-Leninism for many of them.
Yeah, but when was the last time that the communist socialists ever cared about human life in the first place? Honestly, I came from the USSR originally, so I know full well human life is worth absolutely nothing. It's just a number.
By the way, that's said of the British, that's said of the U.S.
They don't care about human life.
Well, people say all these countries are barbaric.
Well, the only difference being the Soviets, the Chinese, between two of them, they murdered close to 100 million, and that's the keyword, innocent people. Innocent. And the friends I was referring to, they're from the USSR. So they can speak from first-hand experience, and I can speak from first-hand experience. I lived over there. So it's if we talk about barbarism, there's no more barbaric place.
You could say the United States during Vietnam.
Not even close.
There were 2 million Vietnamese killed. Who is to say they weren't innocent?
Well,
many of them. But
well, it's not like purges of 1936.
No, but we defoliated.
Well, it's completely different. There's a war. There's no war inside the Soviet Union, 1936, 1937. There's no war inside China when there was a famine that killed some 35 million innocent people. So there's a completely different, totally unrelated, incomparable scenarios. So I would disagree with you on that.
All right. Well, but nobody has an exclusive claim to their barbarity.
Well, the Russians do. And again, I came from that part of the world, so
but the Tsars
I know.
were barbaric too.
The
Tsars were barbaric.
100 years.
Yes.
Here's the statistics for you. Okay, you want to hear statistics? I want to talk about the Tsarist regime. In 100 years, guess how many people they put to death, like criminals? 100. Not 100,000, not 100 million. 100.
You're speaking of again?
I'm speaking about the Romanov Empire, the Tsarist regime. Just 100. Can you imagine that they only send the Lenins of the world and Trotskys of the world to Siberia, with little girls actually helping them, with him being able to do his so-called revolutionary work? Can you imagine Stalin giving this kind of leeway to his opponents? The hardcore communists were murdered for no reason whatsoever, just because Stalin's paranoid. There's no comparison.
Yes.
No comparison.
But did you say in the Roman Empire?
100. Look it up.
But look at the thousands of crosses on which they crucified people.
Seriously, they killed 100 people, murderers, rapists. True criminals.
Roman Empire. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm talking about Russia, Romanov, not
sorry,
Romanov.
I
Yeah.
thought you said the Roman Empire.
No.
I thought.
No, we're talking about Russia.
Sorry.
Russia.
Sorry.
Russia.
Well, that's an interesting claim.
Well, look it up. You'll see for yourself. You'll be surprised.
Wasn't Dostoevsky put in front of a firing spot, and then at the last?
Well, yeah. You see, they didn't shoot him.
You might as well. He died 1,000 deaths before.
Well, it's a different story, I know. But in the end, he was not killed. Versus Stalin, who murdered 50 million of its own citizens, including, of course, the war dead. you know.
Thank
But
you.
anyway, you suggested I talk to other people. Let me do just that. It was nice talking to you.
I
What's your
I
name?
wouldn't let them
Uh-huh.
know of your
today in this
anti-Russia view, anti-Soviet in the beginning. Well, many of them, of course, you have Trotskyite groups here.
I'm sorry, you said
You have many Trotskyite groups which naturally don't like Stalin.
So you would
He
let
killed-
them know about my views? You said?
No, I would
misheard
say
you. Uh-huh.
bring those out slowly.
Bring it out.
Bring your views out slowly.
How slow? Okay, I will.
Right over there you have the Trotskyite group.
Where?
At that last name.
I see.
They publish
In-
a militant
in that corner, okay.
founded by Trotsky.
And who is in that corner? Sorry, different types of leftists.
Thank you.
I
You
see.
have one group that's called the International Marxist Tendencies.
Tendencies.
They
Okay.
claim they're in 40 countries.
Great.
To question them.
Okay.
But they're only a tendency.
I see. Okay, I'll keep a hush-hush about where I originally came from.
That's another originally Trotskyite group.
Uh-huh.
They're called the Workers' World Party.
Uh-huh.
They're another one you could.
I see. Okay. Yeah, I'll try to talk to as many as
Over
will be
here-
willing to talk to me.
We have these are the Spartacists.
The who?
Spartacists.
Spartacists.
As-
And who the hell are those?
Well, you ever see the movie
Another Spartacus? Yeah.
Well, because Spartacus, I would start with them because they're sui generis. They're unto their own.
I see. Okay. I'll talk to everybody. This is Spartacus? Oh, you're Spartacus. Okay, let me talk to Spartacus then. It was nice talking to you. Well, what's your name?
Pardon?
What's your name?
I have no idea.
No idea. Okay, that's fine. No, your name. Do you have a
Bernie
name?
Sanders is a class That should tell you.
I see. Yeah, let me talk to them. Okay, nice talking to you.
Excuse me, I'd like to ask you to leave, okay? Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you're not Spartacus?
Go ahead.
I have to tell you something.
She doesn't want to talk to me for some
We have
reason.
a Bill of Rights. Anything can be photographed in this public square. Yes, that's a fact.
That's a fact. Thank
When you come out into the public square,
Thank you.
your personal wishes do not abridge our Bill of Rights,
Thank you.
which includes freedom of the press,
Correct.
freedom of association,
Correct.
among the other freedoms enumerated in the Bill of Rights.
You're great. Thank you.
You cannot wave someone off, and a policeman could be called to defend the rights of the press.
Thank
Remember
you.
that.
Thank you.
We don't want a revolution that curtails individual rights, do we?
Thank you.
Of course not.
Thank you. But maybe they're afraid talking to me. I don't know. What do you
It's
think?
just a principle.
I know it is a matter of principle. And think about it. They're here in the public space, trying to spread their views.
This is the public square.
Public square, and they refuse to talk to someone who wants
She wanted you to stop filming.
spread their views. I
She
mean,
has the right not to talk to you, but she
Yeah.
is claiming you don't have the right to photograph.
of course I do.
Of course.
Of course, thank you. And in a single party consent law,
I'm
New York
guessing
City.
She joined when she was very young.
Oh no,
Can you give someone credit for this?
Oh no, you know, now I recall. I think I interviewed her once several years ago, and she started talking to me without realizing, that I might have some kind of views that are not exactly jive with hers. And she remembers that. Oh, now I recall. That's
But
why
they
she
don't
refused.
even believe apparently that through conversation you can conceivably convert the other party.
Thank you,
They
that's
even
exactly
give up
right.
on that option.
And it's so sad. And
Very
it's so sad. I mean, I can 100% disagree with you or you with me. But what makes America the greatest nation on earth is that we can agree, disagree, and we can discuss certain issues. And it's perfectly fine. I'm not threatening you. You're not threatening me. We're just discussing
And
certain
we
issues.
may invoke the immortal words of Chairman Mao Zedong, who said, "Let 100 flowers bloom. Let 100 tendencies of thought bloom."
Well, this is not the person who would quote as a
But he
paragon
did-
of free
but you may-
speech.
No, but on that,
But-
let him have- he didn't
Yeah.
say 1,000. He said 100.
100, okay. Well, but they're scared. That's what leftism is all about, unfortunately.
They have a condescending view
Of
that you are unworthy even of engaging with.
Oh,
That's
that's
the
very interesting point.
That's the problem.
That's the problem. I'm not.
It
I'm
doesn't even
unworthy.
come to your views.
I see. Well, thank you.
Sure. Can you? I just want to say something private.
Sure.
The same thing happens in the green market, which has nothing.
Green market?
Most.
Oh.
This is a green market.
Oh, yeah,
where
that's right.
farmers bring.
Uh huh.
Last week,
Uh huh.
I think I was walking, and a guy with a camera and an interviewer approached me, and I answered questions.
Uh huh.
But I soon realized he was a satirist of some sort.
Uh huh.
But I still answered.
Okay.
But then he moved to another person, and I saw that the people who the city has delegated running the green market, they come up to him in the middle of his interview, telling him that he can't film here.
He can't. Seriously.
So I defended,
Seriously.
It's now my defense of their free speech.
Of course.
Someone just is put up online by this Canadian. 290,000 people have been listening to my defense of freedom.
Oh, beautiful!
You can
That's
look
fantastic.
it up.
You know what? I'll give you my card. You can look it up, and you can see yourself on my YouTube channel if you don't.
But give me your card. But right now, later go to Ryan Long.
Ryan Long. Okay.
But it's not comedy because it takes this turn.
I see.
And these people are out of control. Be it these people or green market people, farmers market. They all have this officious tendency.
That's true.
To officiate your rights.
That's right.
But we fought a war here for many things, including freedom of assembly, freedom of speech.
That's exactly
freedom
right.
of the press.
Well, thank you.
These people cannot supersede it, be they officious farmers or officious wannabe leftists.
Wannabe leftists. Yeah, that's who they are, actually. You know, if they were in my shoes, and I lived for 29 years behind Iron Curtain, for one day with the Soviet passports, it would have cured them of their leftism in an instant. In an instant, you know, it's so easy to be a socialist in a most prosperous country on the earth, in the freest country, at least at this point on earth, or mostly free country on earth. It's so easy to be a socialist. Well, go to North Korea and try to invade North Korea, where people eat each other.
You know what
or in China.
Their answer to that is uniformly, quote, but those aren't true socialist countries. That's their answer.
Yeah, you're right. That's what I hear over and over again. Yes.
Don't talk to us about the Soviet failure, the North Korean failure, the Albanian failure, or the.
Well, USSR. I mean, the list goes on.
Our eyes are on the future, socialism.
Yeah. 100 years is not enough. 100 million innocent victims of socialism is not enough. I mean, how many people have to die?
Have victims of capitalism too. You have to understand that people exploit other people under all systems. That's the human failing. That's incontrovertible.
Well, I would sort of disagree with that part, but
that's my experience observing life.
Okay.
Studying a little smidgen of
Thank you
history.
so much.
Anyway, but have at the Spartacus.
Well, the Spartacus, they're too scared to be Spartacus. They're not really Spartacus enough, I guess. Spartacus wasn't like that. Hey, how's it going?
I don't know all that much about Spartacus. A little bit, but yeah.
So are you part of the Spartacus team or something? No. Okay, I was trying to talk to Spartacus, and the Spartacus is not brave enough, it seems like, to talk to me. And this gentleman, whose name I don't know, he suggested I talk to them.
Are you here to observe this wonderful observance of labor rights?
Of course I'm here for labor rights. I wish I found...
And labor rights are part of the American experience of organizing in America, going back to, as I said, the first Labor Day was held here. There's a commemorative plaque, actually.
Yeah.
And the right to union organizing is a democratic right, held dearly by the truest members of our society.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, different people try to abridge the momentum of labor rights, be they backward bosses, backward owners, etc.
There are those,
So there
yes.
has to always be the agitation on behalf of labor. Without
to a certain
that
degree.
eternal vigilance for labor rights, you end up with periods like the post-Reagan period where workers were just decimated, which they're slightly coming out of these, 40 years later.
I see. Okay.
The capitalist labor structure is inherently anti-democratic.
Why are you still wearing a mask? All right, nice talking to you.
Why am I still wearing a mask?
Yeah.
Because
Especially in the open air. It's totally useless, that, unless it's N95 or something like that.
yeah, hey, it's a KN95.
Oh, sure. Yes, sir.
Look, these are good people. The Restaurant Workers Union. That would be very good. They're having some success these days.
Okay.
By the way, here's a great
Here.
story you might like to know.
Sure.
As you may know, Leon Trotsky spent 9 months here in America before the
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
He lived in the Bronx, and he commuted in to work at a newspaper, Navi Mir, I'm not sure, on 8th Street, near the 80 St. Mark's Theater. And that owner could tell you more in the future. He knows about this.
I'm not a fan of Trotsky at all.
But no. But speaking of Trotsky and restaurant workers,
Okay.
he in the Bronx, every morning he would have breakfast at a Jewish dairy restaurant. And after, maybe it had 10 tables. And every morning, as he finished his breakfast, he would rise from his chair, cast his eyes about the other diners and say, "Do not tip the waiters." Trotsky would lecture, "Do not tip the waiters."
Moron. What a moron.
He said don't tip the waiters because they shouldn't depend just on their tips.
Yeah,
That was
sure.
his point.
So he spent 9 months in America and didn't learn a single thing.
Well, when he heard that
What an idiot.
the train was going to the Finland station, he ran back to join.
Yeah, of course.
And there he decimated, as the head of the Red Army, the Kronstadt sailors.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah, that's what he did. The ones who did the revolution in the first place. So the second wave, including Trotsky, decimated the first wave. And it goes on. I mean, just like you said. There's one wave, one says, oh, we were Trotskyites, we're anti-Stalinists, Stalinists are against Trotskyites, and there's a whole slew of different, like you said, purported left?
Purported left. It's called the leftover left by some.
Well, maybe one day in 1,000 years, communism will succeed, sure.
What we're satirizing as the left is very distinct from the ongoing generic American democratic labor movement and the objectives of labor. That's very distinct from the infighting of the leftover left. This is the eternal labor struggle.
I see. Okay. All right. Nice talking to you. See ya. Be well.
About the right of every single human being on earth to live in peace. Este es el derecho de vivir en paz.